What's up, everyone? Welcome to another UAP Talk Screw Up Sessions slash Know New Friends podcast with another very special guest joining us here today. She is the courtside reporter for season 87 and 88 for the University of the Philippines. Please welcome Cheska Ramos. Welcome,
Hello.
welcome. Nice to have you on the show.
Thank you for having me.
Of course. We're excited. We're excited to recap UP's basketball season with you. This is gonna be crazy. Okay, so you've been the correspondent for 2 years. You're one
Mhm.
of the vets this season, right? So you started out in season 87, and it was a crazy year for UP. You guys
Sure.
won the championship. So you have been added now to UP's list of lucky charms.
Yeah.
So how did this happen? How did you get to where you are? What made you want to apply? Like who or what convinced you
Yeah.
to take this leap?
Honestly, because growing up, I've really been into sports. Like, I did football for 8 years, then volleyball for 10. So, I grew up watching the UAP. So, it was kind of always been a dream. But growing up, it was like to play volleyball. But came a time when I got into UP and I decided to stop that parang I saw Kyla Kingsu, Jerry, Medina, who were fellow econs. So when I saw them on the big screen, there was like a whisper in my mind that parang something that I kind of see myself doing. So parang because it's still on the side of sports, then actually, fun fact, I sent an application first year college. So I sent one. I didn't tell anyone. But at the time, so there's like a deadline for applications. I never opened my email. So 2 weeks after, I decided to open my email. So apparently, they were asking me to resend because there was no audio to my video. But it was already too late to resend. So then came sophomore year, second year of college, and that was season 87. So I applied lang, sent my CV again and video. No one knew. And yeah, from then on, here I am now after that.
Oh man, the no audio on the
Yeah.
the video. They're
So
probably like, what's happening?
yeah, that's why the second time I sent it for like second year, like for 87, I sent three different formats for my video just to be sure that there was an audio this time.
Yeah, that's great. I think it's very helpful if you're somebody who's had experience with sports, or at least someone
Yeah.
who's into sports when entering this, field of being a courtside reporter, correspondent, because it
Mhm.
helps, not just, being there and doing the reports and
Yeah.
whatnot, because you have a understanding to some point what's happening, but it makes it feel like you're not doing work, but you're just
Yeah, it
having
doesn't.
fun in the environment. Yeah, diba?
And
Yeah.
because I guess being a former student athlete, there's more to what you see on the game. So I think that also I wanted to like share the stories behind it, especially because we know collegiate leagues aren't easy. Like there's a lot of sacrifices that come with it. So
Mhm.
that's what I really wanted to share.
Yeah, actually, we haven't really talked about, at least recently, the whole aspect of sacrifice that the
Yeah.
players um have to do to be a student athlete. It's not easy, like you said. You have to balance everything
Yeah.
and also perform well, syempre, in the games, diba? So, ayun. But I guess going back to you, diba, as a student also yourself and
Mhm.
being a courtside reporter also, of course you have to juggle all of your responsibilities together and also make sure that you're doing your reports well, diba? So before, when we've had other correspondents on the show, usually they would come from different courses that aren't
Yeah.
necessarily related to communication, broadcasting, mga ganon. So what was your course? What's your course actually in college, and how do you think it helped you during your correspondent journey?
So I'm taking up psychology. So
Oh,
I think, and because I also took like sports psych course electives, so I think it really helped me in a way that how I frame my questions and what emotions to tackle on with the players. And also, like, with their body languages and stuff, how to really like poke what you want to get from them, the reaction. So I think that really helped a lot.
Yeah, I took psych also in college, so can
Oh, really?
relate to that. Yeah, actually, we've had like a couple also before the psych student. Then I
Yeah.
think it was Kyla Castillo ata. Yeah,
Oh,
that's
yeah.
pretty cool. I'm sure you're able to apply nga yung psych concepts nga about making
Yeah.
sure that you're able to get um like the information you need from players to sort of bridge the gap between the
Mm-hmm.
players and the audience to get to know them a bit more because they are more than athletes like you mentioned kanina. So yeah, it's always cool if you're able to apply nga yung course mo with
Mm-hmm.
um doing your job. Yeah.
Yeah, does psych help you like understand how the players are feeling if they're not so expressive? Like
I
if it's
mean,
hard to get them to open up, this the stuff from your course like help you to at least like understand what they're feeling even without hearing them say it.
I guess the body language, well, sometimes, but not always. I guess it's more in like pakikiramdam lang. Like really, I guess the connection that I've built with them on and the rapport. That's how I really got to understand. Like, you can tell when a player's down or when they're really happy and they're in the mood to talk. That's when you insert yourself in a conversation with them. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, no, and you've been with
Yeah.
this team
uh,
2 years
yeah.
now. I mean, technically the team didn't really change except for Ray Ramogat. So,
Yes.
right? So these are people who you've been like you got to know for the past two and a
Yeah.
half years.
Yeah, I mean, at the start it was really hard because I watched basketball starting 84, so that was when UP was really like, wow, they're a championship team. So going to that, like in trading, in my mind, it was always like, oh wow, like JD Kagulama and Harold Alarcon. But once I got to know them, they were really nice people and easy to talk to. And I think that helped me a lot more in 88, where I got to talk to them more comfortably.
84 was kind of like the starting point of a lot
You,
of the other courtside reporters also with when they got really
Mhm.
into
yeah.
basketball. Because I think post COVID was really like it was like a restart point
Yeah.
for like a new generation of UAAP fans to come in. And then especially since like UP had made it to the finals for the first time in forever and the first champion in what
Yeah. 36.
36? I think they said
36
36
years.
years. I
That's
remember
crazy
watching
talaga.
that JD shot on Facebook Live because somebody
Yeah.
randomly like shared their screen for the championship game. And I was like, there's no way that Ateneo's gonna lose this. And then I was so happy for UP. Like seeing that the whole like the fan of the entire Mo Arena, all the
Goose
fans just like nakamask pa and then they're like jumping.
Yeah.
social distancing. No patron seats pa at the time.
Yeah, and then
Mm.
like there was that big space, right? In
Yeah.
the I
They blocked out
remember.
the section.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
think
the
that,
giant TV.
yeah, that I
Yeah.
guess 84 was the start because it was like trending on TikTok because I'd only watch UAP volleyball. Then, so I remember telling my cousin, like, oh, I kind of want to watch basketball. Then we have a family friend who plays for LaSalle before. So then
Oh.
I'd watch LaSalle games parang 85. So that's how I really got into basketball. And it was like, wow, like I was grade 11 or 12 if I'm not mistaken. And that's when I was like, UAP is a different level of play.
Yeah, and UP's
Yeah.
been sunod-sunod na since 84. They've
Yeah.
had the spot in the Coach Gold era talaga.
Yeah, I remember
So it's
like
so
the
good.
golden
So good to
era.
see.
Yeah, the
Yes.
golden era. Yeah, yeah. That's what I
Couldn't
remember.
have gone better for them. Like winning the way that they did in 84 after that long drought nga, and then just
Yeah.
continuing to go up, like pun
Mhm.
intended. Pero, ayun, just a good time for you guys. So
Yes.
yeah.
Yeah, and even if like after 84 it took 3 years to win again, like being in the finals period is like that's the
It-
achievement
Yeah.
talaga right there because it's so competitive. It was so
yeah.
competitive all of those seasons. So the fact that UP was able to maintain even just showing up at the end
Like
of everything,
Yeah, and you're right. I mean, from having the drought of like 36, 84, getting the championship, then falling short for 2 seasons. So 87 really was them trying to reach the top. And in 88, it was really just learning how to still stay there, which is
Yep.
nice. I mean, given their history.
Yeah, and for technically the entire 88, UP still stayed
On top. Yeah.
where we honestly they had for me the best regular season up until the final four.
Yeah.
I mean, personal opinion, like the stats
Yeah.
obviously NU was the top and they were the top for a reason. But like
Yeah.
the challenges that UP had to kind of overcome also in the beginning of
That's
88 and then in the middle, it's not an easy feat. So
mm-hmm.
thank you for that segue. That made it perfect for me to like to go into this. So this
Yeah.
is where it gets this is where it gets really like nerdy for us. Well, especially since 88 was like such a special season. I
Mm-hmm.
don't think we're gonna have something like this for a long time again. I hope we do
That's true.
for many, many seasons to come, because if this is the way that everything's gonna pan out from 89 onwards, then the Philippine college basketball fans are in for like
All
a really,
right.
really good like next couple of decades, hopefully.
That's true.
All right. So UP coming off a championship in 87 with an all- I want to call them an all-star team because technically they were like QMB, JD, Francis Lopez. And then you have the Maroon 5 who still
Yeah.
stayed until 88 for their final season. Lost some key players, but gained Ray Ramogat, who had to do his residency in 87. Can you imagine if he played in
In
87 already? I
87.
don't know what would have happened. KQ versus Ramogat, that would have been crazy. So everyone is expecting, well, I mean, everyone has their preseason expectations, right? And I think because of all the preseason tournaments, it was also evident that UP was still such a dominant force in college basketball. So everybody, including us, was expecting that UP would be one of the contenders for finals na naman. And then going into season 88, everyone was just expecting like three or four teams to be the ones to stand out, and then the others would kind of like do what they've been doing in the seasons before
Yeah.
and try and make their way to the top as well. And then UST shocked the whole UAAP by blowing out UP in game one, a complete UP team against an incomplete UST team. I think they didn't have Forsky in that first game.
Yeah, they didn't.
Yeah, and the last time they had played in 87 was also against UP when they got kicked out of the Final Four. Right? They were two
Yeah.
and three, yeah, and then UST got knocked out. UP went to the finals. So Colin Sakoe kind of just shocked the whole team. I think Ramogat was kind of having trouble finding his footing in that game. I remember I was watching the end of it. Then I saw the score and I was like, "Is this 20 points? How many points is this that UST is up?" And I couldn't believe it. And I think watching all like the post game podcasts, they were also like, "What the hell just happened? Like UP just got blown out. Like, is this really a sign that this season is not gonna be the season we thought it was?" And then the next game was against Adamson. Overtime thriller. I remember I watched that. I watched the second half of that on Pinas Live because I was expecting that UP would make Bawe. Even if Adamson was like really good already, they only lost to LaSalle by two. So they were going into that UP game probably with a lot of confidence, right? UP was down, but Harold tied it to send them into overtime. And then that shot by Real and Torres just
Yeah.
silenced UP. And I don't know, for the first time in like I don't know how many seasons, UP started 0-2.
Or two.
Yeah. So how was everybody feeling at this point? What was the morale like in the dugouts? What was Coach Gold like telling the team? How was everybody feeling? I'm sure this was unexpected for them.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely was unexpected from what I remember. I mean, all the expectations were there. Everyone thought they would start strong. And I guess really in that slow start, everyone was really trying to find their roles within the team. Because as you mentioned, lost key players. The leadership of my QMB as well, his intelligence and athleticism of Francis Lopez. And I guess with that, the team was really looking for who would fill those in. And Ray got fighting his confidence given all the pressure that he had to fill in the shoes of JD Kagulangan and really bring in those playmaking skills. So really in those two, it was the team trying to find their confidence and their identity now in 88 as defending champions. But I guess what we saw after that Adamson game, the team really stepped up and Ray Mogat against UE, his former team, and him becoming player of the game, that really was a confidence boost for him and the rest of the team. And other players, Jacob Baila stepping up, Gani Stevens and Franny Naruko also finding their confidence. So I guess even though they had a slow start, they really needed that to wake them up and to really push them that they can't be complacent. And all of them knew that they had to work harder, especially with a target on their backs as defending champions.
Yeah, I
Yeah, I
think
think
from
that's
a
the most
okay, go ahead.
admirable. Sorry, Ton. Yeah, I think that's the most
Go go
admirable
go.
thing about being at UP this season because they're the defending champions, so obviously they have the most pressure and they have the target on their backs, like you mentioned,
Yeah.
and also losing some of the key players from the season prior. So yeah, having to defend a championship in a very competitive like current UAP and having to adjust because of the loss of the previous key players. Now, it's not easy and it's honestly completely understandable why UP sort of had a slow start, diba,
Yeah.
as compared to as what people expected. But eventually panned out pa rin naman. So as we keep talking about it, diba, as we go on. But yeah, props to UP nga for what they did, diba, to keep it like they really kept their composure pa rin kahit
Yeah.
papaano despite the struggles at the beginning.
Yeah, and I just pulled up my pregame report for the Adamson game. There's something Coach Tom really told them from that USC game that it wouldn't go to waste that game, even though they lost, if they bring in the lessons and really wake up as a team and play as one. And really reminding
Yeah.
them that because they won champions last season and being in the finals for the past few seasons, that it doesn't mean automatically that they get a free pass to the finals. So we saw nga na they really worked hard from that slow start up until the end.
Yeah, I think like watching the season as a fan that's biased to their home team, like we don't really process these things that we just talked about where like, oh, an opposing team is struggling, like not because they suck, but because like they're trying to find their footing.
Mm-hmm.
Like I mean, like what Mon said, it's understandable that all this pressure coming from season 87 where they're the defending champions, like they're
Yeah.
expected to start off from that point already and
Yeah.
just keep going up. But people forget that like this is a completely different team and like just because they replaced key players doesn't mean that these people are now the key like the same people that got replaced, right? And I think especially with the pressure that was on Ray Romaga to kind of fill in the shoes of I think he was being compared to JD because he's also
Yeah,
same
they were.
position, right? Point guard,
Yeah.
yeah.
And I mean, even
So
when he was in residency, people would really like put focus on him na JD will
mhm.
be passing the baton to him next season. And I think, I mean, in preseason, he really played well. I remember watching the games,
Yeah, he
but I
did
guess
against us. He
stepping,
did.
yeah, in the fill oil, like he would score so many points and really having that playmaking. And I guess them really stepping into the UAP, that's I guess where they felt the pressure and all the expectations. And I remember those first two games when I went online, people were already like counting them out. And that I think that though pushed them really to show na, they can't be counted out.
Yeah, even us, admittedly, when we saw UP start, we were like, oh, yan na. Ano, goodbye UP. Pero yeah, again,
We
like,
love the UP community. We're just saying this as
oh
like
yeah,
diehard
syempre.
Lasallians that like
Yeah,
yes, we won't have to
Uh,
face them anymore in the
in the finals.
yeah, we
uh,
were like, no, okay, it's gonna be different now. We were like, Oh, sino na baka Lasal Ateneo? Because Ateneo started really well in the
Ateneo
season.
had like
I
5-0
agree.
run
Yeah.
Yeah, they
till
were 4-0 in the beginning.
oh yeah, and then
Crazy. Oh,
I
forgot
remember
about
I
them.
was watching the Ateneo Lasal right after that game when they lost their lead, then they were after us the next. But yeah, sorry. Other team na pala yun.
Yeah, it was great seeing pa rin how UP bounced back na like what we mentioned kanina.
Yeah.
Kasi honestly, they're really one of the teams to watch talaga. Like
Mhm.
talent-wise, just phenomenal. Yeah.
Yeah, because really, even though we lost key players, I would say we had a really deep bench.
Yeah,
Like,
you
Deep Ben.
did.
yeah, like
Yeah,
I remember post-game interviews, I'd be interviewing different players every game, which I
that's
guess
dope.
what made 88 really special because you never knew who was gonna step up.
Yeah, it's always great when like almost everyone from the team gets like the spotlight nga to
Yeah,
kunyari be interviewed or some of them get player of the game. It really shows na the team is a team talaga. Like everybody contributes to the win and whatnot, diba? Because basketball of course is a team sport, so
yeah.
syempre it can't be one person doing everything, diba? So yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and I think one of the things I respect about the playing style of UP's team is that like they're all technically like they could hog the ball because they're all capable of being the primary scorer, but they find a way to make it like a team, like shared experience between all of them. That's one of the things I respect talaga about the way that the Fighting Maroons play. They know when to take charge, but they also know when to share and let somebody else like have the spotlight too. And I saw that in all the small moments in like all of the UP games throughout this season. Like one player would be the dominant like scorer, and then bigla na lang the last shot won't come from them, and
That's
that's how
true.
you know that like they're really learning how to get everybody involved so that the growth of all the players is evident, but not just in like one or two people.
Yes, and you're right, because I remember from last season, there were breakout performances from like Miguel Inigas, who played for the first time in the season, and also Troy Palanca, a rookie. And I think that's what really amazed me, seeing them, each of them really stepping up and contributing to the team. Because a lot of what you said, pressure was on Noy and the Maroon Five, but the younger players also stepped up, and it was nice to see that growth.
How about you though? How did you feel like during the starting of UP in 88? Obviously didn't really go the way you guys wanted it to, diba? So how was it? How did you feel about it, like as the reporter seeing the action from the side?
A lot of emotions. I mean, I also was like, this isn't the UP team I know. Like in my mind, I was like, what's happening? Because I know, how much they've worked hard for. But I also knew maybe for in my courtside point of view, like this is just part of their story. Because I knew
Yeah.
talaga that they would be in the finals. Like I know how hard they've worked since off season in January. Like they'd have skills training in the morning. So I knew like those first two games was really just a stepping stone for something greater. That's why I remember phrasing my reports to really just being part of the story, but there's something other than that, those two losses.
For
Yeah,
sure.
and honestly, diba, they're the champions, pero in a way, parang they were the ones who had the most to prove nga.
Yeah.
Yung tipong, diba, you have to defend the championship, that's one, and then obviously make the adjustments nga because of, the team isn't the same team as season prior, diba? So yeah, for them to, be able to prove that, they can still be a top tier team,
Yeah.
despite the setbacks nga. It's really great to see and witness. Honestly, a lot of the teams nung 88 had really good storylines, if you will.
Yeah.
Parang everybody really went through, like either they started off good and then they had a few dips and then came back. Parang most of the teams in the season 88 nga, really had that like really good storyline nga, like I mentioned.
That's
And
true.
it wasn't just one straight line,
Yeah.
kumbaga.
I remember 88 was like no one knew who would be in the final four. Like dikit yung
Yeah.
standing. Like you're
Mm.
like, will it be still a UP LaSalle or will NU be in the finals? I remember us in the prod room, we all didn't know who would be in the top four, and every team was someone to look out for.
So yeah, UP started 0-2, but then the next game was against Neuer Mogat's former school, the UE, where he dropped, I think, almost 20 points. And then they were like, "Oh, he's back! He found his footing." I remember seeing all the post game like pubs with Ramogat just like screaming. And honestly, like being a non-biased basketball fan, I was happy for him that like I mean, what a team to like go off against, right? To go off against your former team is
Mhm.
like I guess the biggest motivation that you can have to show up for your new school that you're playing for, right? So UB finally gets a win. They go up now. They're 1-2. Then they go up against NU. I think the NU game was next.
Yeah.
Yeah, and at that point NU's 3-0. So
Yeah.
they hadn't lost yet. And I remember that the half the team was like sick or something. Like they had flu ata. I think they said Harold was playing with like under meds and stuff because he was like a long sleeve. I remember I was
Yeah.
I was tuning in and out of the game on my phone. And I was like, wait, why everyone look so like different? And the rotation is different. And then I didn't hear it till after that, like everyone was kind of under the weather. And they still pulled off the win. So the first team to beat NU, now UP goes up and they tied their record 2-2. Then they go up against Ateneo. Yeah, they go up against Ateneo. Really impressive win. This was Ateneo's first loss in the season. And
Yes.
going into that game, I remember I was thinking like, okay, this can go either way because UP has won against Ateneo the past, I don't know, three season games
Season.
they played against them, yeah, including a Final Four match where they knocked out Ateneo in 86. But Ateneo was still perfect record, and then UP shocked. I think Naruka kind of went off in that game.
I know he had like 28 or something points.
Yeah, that was the first time he did like a monster dunk.
Yeah.
I remember that. I was like, this is so impressive. And they put Jacob Baila on Dom Escobar, which made it
Yeah.
really hard for him to operate, which classic Jacob Baila, right? Can just neutralize any star player, which is like
That's true.
a key thing for UP's win. So UP wins, they go up 3-2 now. So they have a better win loss record. Second to the last game of round one was against FEU. Yeah, this is where Gani Stevens and I don't remember who else it was that won them that game, but I remember Gani was one of the last ones to score because it cost Mo Konate to foul him, and then he got free throws. And then when he made those free throws, I was like, "Oh, Gani's improving his free throws. I love it." So UP wins that. It was a close game. I think it was 3 points loss for FEU lang. So UP is now 4-2. So everyone's expecting that they're gonna sweep, right? And this is at this point, this is where LaSalle is like doing really badly. Where we were 2-3, and we
Yeah.
just lost one key player, and then the UE game we lost another key player, but we were able to tie it. So we were going into this game as the underdogs, even if
Yeah.
this was the finals rematch, because UP was on a streak and we were in a drought and like with many difficulties. So I remember I told Mon, I was like, why don't we watch this one live? Because I feel like if LaSalle can win this, it proves that we're still capable of being a championship team, even with all of these like bad things happening. Because we were at our lowest and UP was at their highest. So we are like, let's just watch it. We never know. We might surprise. So we were there in Araneta. I remember the vibe was so we were so scared because the game started off kind of slow. I think but Jerry was the first one who scored for UP, and then it was kind of dire direction for the first half of the game. Him and Harold were like
Exchanging.
interchanging like major buckets. I remember everyone was like, "Is this gonna be the Scary Jerry game finally?" And for the first for the first half, honestly, it was. We were us LaSalle fans. We were terrified of what was happening, and then I think Luis Pablo kind of just went off and flustered everyone on UP. He was going up against Francis Maruca. He was going up against Gani. Such an
Mhm.
impressive showing. And UP was almost able to win because of Terence Fertea and his freaking Hail Mary three
Yes.
pointers. I remember every time we
Never
got the
ends.
ball, we were like, just gonna just gonna let that go in because that's probably going in. But LaSalle was able to get the lead and win by a single possession game, but still a really good showing by UP. So we're now tied at 4-3 each. And I
Yeah.
think we just interchanged in the ranking. So UP became 5 and we became 4, something like that. But it was still like neck and neck. Yeah. So this is the end of round one. What is the team feeling? Like you started off slow, you had a really good streak. You lost the last one, but you still ended with a positive win-loss record. How is
Yeah.
everybody feeling? How are you feeling?
I think in that time, everyone, I guess there's like a heartbreak because it's like we were going, we were in a winning streak, as you mentioned, and then ending round one and not the way they hoped really hurt. But at the same time, I guess instead of letting that linger in them, they chose to like just keep working hard because I remember after that they just went straight back to trainings. They doubled their training. They had extra film sessions. They did skills trainings, and everyone was. You could tell. I remember the atmosphere. Everyone was really just locked in and wanting to bounce back from that loss. And I remember Jerry would always tell them that, just heads up, there's still a round two, and there's still many more games to prove themselves and to get back on track. And I guess from there, like everyone really knew they were still capable to bounce back from that loss.
But how are you? How are like what was going through your mind like as both the CSR and as a UP fan? Like
Me, it was really also heartbreak. Like, parang I didn't expect it because, as mentioned, you guys lost key players in LaSalle and your record wasn't as strong as ours going to that game. But for some reason, I also realized for 87, we also struggled with LaSalle during elimination rounds. Like 87, we never won against LaSalle, but won against them in the finals. So it didn't scare me or make me nervous because I knew what mattered for them and the team was really how they bounce back from that and win the rest of the games and not really affect the way they like their mindset and the way they move for the next games.
going into round two, UP was still kind of on a hot streak. I mean, the
Mm.
one loss didn't really break the momentum as we saw in the next how many
Yeah.
games? 5, 6 games. So the first game, round two, was against NU again. And NU was struggling for most of that game. I remember Jake Figueroa could not buy a bucket for like the first 2.5 quarters. UB was just going off. I think this was one of Raylan Torres's best games from what I remember. Like he was shooting the lights out from the 3 point line. I think he shot two or three threes, something like that. And I was like, wow, this is a lot of ball usage that I haven't seen yet from Raylan Torres. So it was nice to see him like shine in that moment.
That's
And
true.
then NU almost tied it, or they did tie it near the end, but UP still came away with the win. And they remain the only team so far to beat NU in the regular season. So you're now 5-3. Yeah,
It,
5-3. So that puts you up against LaSalle, I think, right now. Because I think
Mhm.
the NU game was the first or second game of round two. I think that was the first game they ata, from what I remember. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then the next game was FEU. I think that was a Jacob Baila game. Was that his first player of the game?
Yeah, it was his first player of the game. And yeah, QPAV, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
crazy for a like primarily defensive player
Yeah.
to win player of the game. I think him like going on the offense kind of flustered FEU because they were like, why are they giving the ball to Jacob Baila and why is he able to score against us? Like he would just run straight to the basket for like really clean layups. I was so impressed. I was like, what? This is crazy. This is such an amazing showing from someone whose like
Defense.
primary role is to be a defender, to just
Yeah.
go off on offense. That's and to win player of the game. Like that's that's crazy.
Yeah,
So
in that game, if I'll add lang, I think
yeah,
that's where I really saw in Jacob how much he wanted to win. Like, because he wouldn't just stick to his role as a defense player, as you mentioned. He also worked on the offense. And despite him just being like a second year player, he would really be like a leader as well in huddles and everything. And I guess for me, that's why Jacob is one of the top players in the UAP and why he was really a highly recruited player. Like that's where I saw now, okay, Jacob's really locked in the season and would do anything for the team.
yeah, that was just I think that's why he became one of my favorite UP players because now he's a two-way player, which makes
Yeah.
him even more dangerous, right? Like it's harder to be a good defender than to be a good offensive player. So to have
True.
that down and then to start showing up on offense too, that really can like scare other teams and cause them to like change they have to guard Jacob Baila now, like a
That's actually
very
his goal for the season. Because I
oh
remember talking
really?
to him. Yeah, I remember asking him, I think after when he played like well defensively against Dom, I remember asking him like what did it mean for him? Because last season they called him a KQ defender from the finals, and then now he's like one of the top defenders. And he said he really wants the season to be a two-way player. So that's why he really put in the work also and skills for shooting. And like really we saw that in 88 and really proud of that.
Yeah, two-way players are very valuable.
Mm-hmm.
Valuable is often the term associated nga with two-way players, and that's really the kind of player you want on your team. You know,
Yeah.
somebody who knows their role and does it well, but also is willing to expand on it and, be better, diba?
Yeah,
So,
especially
yeah.
because he's young pa.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that he has that confidence. I mean, on the court, he's very confident when he has the ball. Like, you can't really see the hesitation in his movement and face. So really excited to see like the next seasons.
Yeah, that's what made him a menace. I remember all the live games that we'd watch where he'd like show up and then they would zoom in on him in the screen.
Yeah.
Tapang talaga ng angas. I love it. It's so like if I was playing for UP and I'd get so hyped up like having him on the floor.
Uh,
I'd be like, fuck yeah, we're gonna win this.
yeah, he's really so hyped and locked in. Like, I think there was also a game where he was so hyped. Like, they showed him on screen, like, I think hitting his chest or whatever. And I think that got the other players hyped too, to be like angas on the court. And I think that's also a big thing for the players, that it adds to their adrenaline and the intensity of the game.
Yeah, for sure. I can't imagine. I'd probably just be like zoned out until the game was done. Then I'd be
Yeah.
like, oh, I did all of that. Like rewatching everything, I'll be like, oh, okay, so that's what I did. So now UP is 6-3. So I think right now in the standings, they're at third. They're still at third. But they're, I think UP and LaSalle were like interchangeable almost every game because as the second round progressed, it would change all the time until UP ended up at number two, right? So the next game was UST. Big game. I remember me and Mono were at an event and like we were like downtime ish. So we had my iPad and we put it on to watch it. And then we would glance every few minutes at the score because I think USD was up for most of the game until like near the fourth quarter. And then UP just caught up really quickly and then it was a back and forth like thriller fest until Harold made that freaking Kevin Durant fadeaway mini thing that he does. Like his mid range jumper is just
Yeah, it's like everything just kept going in.
yeah.
Like
I don't
shots. I remember asking him like, "What was on your mind?" He was just like, like he didn't also expect all of that. I feel like he was just on flow state from that point in those last couple of minutes. Because I remember he was player of the game too for
Yeah, I
that.
think he was player of the game for that game.
Yeah, like I remember parang he also couldn't believe what just happened. Like it just fell into place.
Yeah, and
But
that's like the Bawe for the round one game. I feel like everyone in the UP community was like, okay, we made up for that loss in round
yeah.
one because this was like so well earned.
Yeah. Was that also the game like in the last few seconds he threw the ball up?
No, no,
No,
that was the
no,
final.
that's
That
the
was the
final.
that's the final four one. That one was the ouchie for
Oh yeah.
for USD. Yeah. Okay, so now you're 7-3. Really good record. You haven't lost a game since the end of round one, and you went four straight. So the next is UE, where you blew them out, and this was Sean Alter's game. Was this his first like player of the game also for Sean Alter?
I'm actually not sure. I don't remember. But yeah, I know he played well.
Yeah, he had like 16. I don't remember 16 points
Yeah.
or something like that. He was on the floor for a lot of the game, and I
Yeah.
think it was very smart to leave him in there because it kind of boosted his confidence as a backup center since he was kind of not being used as much as Francis or Gani, right? Like he was like the okay, if one of them subs out, he'll be the one to go in first and like relieve the starting center. But very
Yeah.
impressive game by Sean Alter. And you guys blew out UE, which makes your record now 8-3. So last three games going into the end of round two. So you play Adamson. Really close game also. Honestly, this one was as close as I think a game got in the second round that you guys still came up on top. Like I think after UP had the like a 7 or 8 point lead, and then someone from Adamson shot a three or something like that, and made it like one or two possession game lang with like more than a minute pa. And since it's Adamson, it's very physical and
Yeah.
low scoring. So that's when it gets like really scary. And UP's are very like they like running. But
Hmm.
Adamson really likes that when when teams run because they like just stop them in their tracks. So there's another crazy showing from both teams, but UP came out on top. I think it was a 5 point victory, 70-65, something like that. And I remember there was a big Raylan Torres three near the end where when they zoomed in and then like Coach Boom was like analyzing what was happening. Like you can see Harold telling Raylan to shoot it because he hesitated, I think, to he was gonna pass it and Harold just was like, shoot it. So when it
Yeah.
went in, that was a big thing to like turn the momentum of the game around. So UP ends up winning that. You're now 9-3. Tama ba? Yeah. 9 and
Hmm.
3. And then okay, so right now your team has won five straight. Going into the latter half of the second round, you only have two teams to beat left, but they're big ones, Ateneo and LaSalle. What is the team feeling? What are you feeling? What is Coach Gold and Coach Tom telling everybody?
I remember it was for me personally, it was a time like to reflect, from the start of the season, everything felt heavy. The shots weren't falling, yung rhythm wasn't there. And then like all the doubts are there. But then now, from what they showed from that to round two before Ateneo and LaSalle, it's like they remembered their identity that, it reminded them and everyone else that the culture of the Fighting Maroons, it runs deeper than any slow start or any like bad games. And I think from then on, the team was really focused on finishing round two strong and really bring everything they've learned and all that confidence that they really built to those next games. Because I remember they were still lacking that, the confidence and really like the trust. But then slowly they really found it and they showed it in that game against Ateneo and in the final four. So it was them trying to prove to God that no matter the noise and the doubts, they would still fight. And for me, that's what I also felt. Like I knew from then on, the team would really put up a fight and they wouldn't stop till they reached the finals.
Yeah, of course. You guys aren't, UP fight for nothing, diba? So of
Yeah,
course, you guys really, you know, really scratched and clawed nga, to be able to get back into top form,
yeah,
and you did. So it was great witnessing it as people watching, despite being from another school. It's always better to root for the teams to do well, than to wish that, oh, don't do well, ganito, ganyan, even though we all have our own, you know, like schools that we root for. Pero at
mm,
the end of the day, witnessing good basketball is always gonna be, the best thing that we could get as people who watch the games nga, diba? So, ayun. All right. So, we finished going through, round one and round two. Tama ba, Ton, right?
Well, almost, but like I think this is a good cut point because from the Ateneo game to like the finals, it's already like a crazy and all. So I think this is a good time to like take the breather.
Mhm. Yeah, sige. So well, not really play a game, but like we'll just ask you a couple of fun questions to sort of like, take a little break from all the action that we've been reminiscing at, throughout this podcast so far. So, I just want to ask you a couple of basketball related questions. Of course, you up.
yeah.
So, first question, who's your favorite player from another team? So, di pwedeng UP. It has to be from a different team.
Okay.
Yeah.
Probably Jared. Jared
Oh,
Bahay.
Good, good
right.
answer.
Good choice.
Do I
Oh
say why?
no.
Or
You don't have to. I mean,
okay. I
you
was gonna
can
say
if you want to.
Jared or Ion. Mainly because they're
Okay.
good friends of mine, yeah.
Oh, that's cool. Well, they're both good players, so even
Yeah.
better. That's great.
Especially Jared. Such a good player.
I know, and to be able to do what he did with the shoulder injury still,
Yeah.
I could
Yeah.
never. I can't imagine. Props to
The
him talaga.
expectations as well for him. I mean, from 87 and then 88 as captain.
Yeah, being captain as a sophomore, I can't. Like, you have to have really good leadership skills to be able to pull off something like that. And he did really well. Like,
Did.
Ateneo was such a, like, they're such a close-knit team also. Like, you can see it
Yeah.
when they're on the floor and in the huddles. They're all
They're
like, they're all like together talaga.
yeah.
Okay. So, I'll change na lang the order mo on Pirates, ano.
Sige, go.
Yeah. So, okay. Which player scared you the most whenever the ball was in their hands? Like against UP, whenever you saw an opponent get the ball, you're like, oh my God, no, this is going in.
Jacob Cortez, definitely.
Good answer.
Like whenever it was with him, I was like, oh my God. Him and well also Colin Sokoa. Those two. Those
Oh,
two
yeah,
players.
Colin. Mm.
Such
It's,
great athletes.
I know,
it's not
crazy.
talaga. Yeah. Really excited for the future seasons, yeah, with the players, currently active, but then,
Yeah.
so we're really in for really good basketball. So, all right. Next question. Which team were you always nervous for UP to face, like during the season?
LaSalle.
That's all.
LaSalle. Because also
Good
they're so
answer.
unpredictable. Like when Luis Pablo just started like shooting and all, like you everyone thought it would just be like for me, I thought it's like okay, Jacob Cortez, but all of them were really stepping up, which was nice. They'd always
Yeah,
really challenged UP.
yeah. Especially that game where LP really just, went off during, against UP nga, diba? With
Yeah,
all
he was
the,
the first one he kept blocking. I
yeah,
remember
the blocks. Yeah.
he's already there now.
Mm.
Yeah, that was the no against Harold game one,
Yeah.
finals game one. He had two giant swats and everyone was like, what the fuck? I remember us, we were there in that game, but we were all the way up. And then when he did the first one, we were like, oh my God, this is gonna go in our favor now.
Sure. And every game with LaSalle, just like grab at the energy also of the arena. Nothing could beat that.
Yeah, that's what I love about watching LaSalle UP games live. Like even if it's not a finals game yet, it really every game feels like a finals match, right?
Yeah,
Like everyone's screaming so loud.
everyone's so passionate. Actually, that's what I love about UAP also. Like how it brings everyone together.
Yeah, different generations of
Hmm.
people who have gone to these colleges. But you would see even the older
Yeah.
graduates na from before. Di ba? Sometimes sila nga yung sobrang like
There's
energetic.
Yeah, I remember in LaSalle, there's this one alumni that I'd always
Mm,
see. He's the one like really asking everyone to cheer, which
yeah.
amazes me because parang not that like he's so old, but like he has that energy and passion for the game. And it's nice when everyone really like joins in like the cheering with him also.
Yeah, I think we saw
Yeah.
him when we watched the LaSalle Adams on volleyball. He sits in lower box, right?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah,
with
he's
the
also
cap,
in
and
volleyball.
then
Yeah,
he like waves the yeah, we saw him, we
the
saw him.
clappers.
What a G, man. That's so cool. Okay, and the last question is, what was your favorite moment from the season for your team?
From the season. Such a hard question. But I guess finals game two.
Yeah, that
When,
was a
yeah, because the final series was so different from the rest. Because we always win game one. We never won a game two. So everyone thought there, like, it was over. So when UP changed the narrative from there, it was like the joy of winning game two and knowing there's still another game to go to after. It was like it was just an amazing feeling. Knowing also because it wouldn't be my last game yet as a courtside reporter for basketball.
oh yeah.
Like there's another game to look forward to. And it was just like everyone, there's like a weight was removed.
Actually true. Because we also weren't used to winning a game one. It's always
Yeah,
you guys who win the game one. So when we won that first one, we were like, okay, so this is really gonna be different then.
yeah. Like parang
Yeah.
in game three, you wouldn't know now who would win. Like you wouldn't
Yeah,
expect it. Like it's just back to 0-0.
yep, for sure. Yeah, that was like yeah. I think yeah, as a UP fan and also witnessing that moment where they won game two. But we can go into that later because
Yeah.
we're gonna make up with that. I was like,
Yeah.
oh my gosh, wait, we skipped a lot of games. Okay. So okay, so the last two games were against Ateneo and LaSalle, and this is when the standings are really important already because the more games you win, the better chance you have of staying in the final four. But
Yeah.
UP was never really at this point in jeopardy of like you. I think you guys were already assured at this point, at least
Yeah.
a final four spot. Yeah.
We're just fighting for the twice to beat advantage.
Yes. Yeah.
Something.
There. It was more like you guys could play spoiler, but to kick out
Yeah.
other teams, which I'm sure motivated them like crazy. Your team's probably like, oh, it's a chance to kick out like our Katip rivals and our newfound championship rivals with us.
Yeah.
So going into that Ateneo game, I remember because Ateneo was not winning anymore
Mm.
at this point, and I remember I was so shocked that for the first half, UP was down by like 20 something points. Like Ateneo was just going off like crazy,
Yeah.
and I was like, is this how it's gonna be? Like this season is already so complicated. I feel like this would be such a an interesting way to like twist it up even more. But
Yeah.
then second half, Scary Jerry came to play. I think he could not miss for the last 3 minutes.
Yes.
I he just went off like crazy. I remember Vixie also talked about this in her episode with us when we asked her who the scariest player was for her, and she said it was
Yeah.
Jerry
Oh
because of this
wow.
game. She was like, I remember I was texting my dad every time Jerry would shoot that it just kept going in.
Yeah. Because I think they were also Ateneo was motivated because they were still kind of like they can go up a
Yeah,
little
they
Final Four.
could. Yeah.
Yeah. So it was really such a great game.
That
And
went down to like that was really close. I think it was 2 or 3 points only, something like
yeah,
that.
yeah, that's why I remember because it was Vixie's birthday after that. So we were all together
Oof.
with the team, and then such a funny.
Happy birthday.
Yeah, like the players are there. Every time they see me, it's like a reminder of what just happened like a few hours before that celebration.
I'm sure containing your emotions must have been like,
No, I
okay,
was just
I
like,
gotta be.
no, we
Hi
won.
guys.
We won. I was like, friends, we won. Sorry.
No, but regardless, that was such a good showing from both teams.
It
Like,
was.
even if Ateneo was super struggling, they held their ground against the hottest team in the league
Yeah.
at that moment, right? And then, so final game of round two, it's against us again.
Mm-hmm.
And we were kind of struggling at this point. We had lost three in a row. Jacob was kind of in a offensive like slump. He wasn't doing well. He felt he wasn't doing what he could be doing. I think his
Yeah.
field goal percentage was like struggling a lot. But this was the game where Mason came back. And I was so surprised at their decision to not hold him until the Ateneo game, which is what I think everyone thought was going to happen. Because when they said he was coming back, I think everyone thought that they would save him till the last game, which would be the Ateneo game, because it got moved because of the
Yeah.
typhoon. So to bring him back in the UP game just totally threw off the UP defense. I remember Francis had to keep going out to guard Mason, which left the lane open for Mike to just like do
Just keep.
whatever he wanted. Yeah.
Yeah.
Jacob was, and I think he was perfect from the free throw line. But Romogat did not make it easy for us also. I remember, I don't know how many threes he made, but there was one where like we we needed to keep the lead up, and then he shot a three from like the 4 point line
Yeah.
at the top of the key, and that changed the momentum for a little bit,
Mm-hmm.
which made it harder for us to come out with the victory. And even if LaSalle ended up winning, it was really close for a few seconds. Like I think 28 seconds left, Jerry made a quick three off the inbound, which brought UP down by only like
A few.
two. Yeah, it was because we got fouled. I think that we ended up with two free throws from Earl. Yeah, so we ended
Yeah,
up winning by five. Yeah,
because of the fouls.
yeah. But then after the
Sorry,
after the
it's
intention,
flashbacks.
that's why I was like, I'm trying to remember it all. It's playing in my brain. I remember Jerry was supposed to make the last two free throws. He shot one,
Mhm.
intentionally missed the second one. It bounced off the ring. He tried to get UP got the ball back. He
Yeah,
tried to jump and fling it for like a floater three. It didn't go in.
yeah.
JC caught the rebound, passed it to Cortez, who like ran to the other side, and that was the end of round two. Now UP ends the regular season at second place, so they're guaranteed the twice to beat advantage. But they lost to LaSalle, which I'm sure the team is thinking if LaSalle makes it to the finals and not NU, it's gonna be a problem. Plus, you have to get past UST to make it
Mm-hmm.
into the finals. So, what is the team thinking going into the final four? This is the
Yeah,
third year in a row. Sorry, fifth year
I,
in a row that you're
yeah.
making it into the final four at least. So, what is everybody feeling?
I think from then they knew they had to start playing like they were gonna be in the finals. That they were a finals team. Because they know that UST won't put up a fight, and given that our last few games were really close and they had such strong players who also want to win. So I think from there, everyone really worked hard double time. And everyone just, even the ones from the bench, had to step up. And the energy from the bench, from trainings to the games, had to feel like, they were gonna win already. There was no room for hesitation, no room for being scared. They all just had to give it their all already.
Yeah, we were there live for both of the final four games actually.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, that UST UP game was just something else. You could really
Yeah.
feel the intensity talaga. Especially UST kasi they really had like, they had graduating players like
Yes.
sila Nick, diba, who really wanted to, at least win one,
Mm-hmm.
before they go. But yeah, despite that, UP really locked in and, really secured their spot nga in the finals. So, to be able to, defend your title nga is not an easy thing to do, as we've said before. So
Yeah.
yeah, for them to do that despite the season not starting out well,
Mhm.
it was a good win for you guys, honestly. Just getting back to the finals, diba?
And it was such a close game, the USC. I know it's like 1 point. It
It was one
Yes.
point. We
was
were we were behind a bunch of UST fans in the upper box. So
Yeah.
when UST went up because of Portski's floater, I think
mm-hmm.
put them up like two. Yeah,
Yeah.
it put them up two. Everyone was standing in front of us, and we were like, "We knew it. This is going to a second game, just like the LaSalle one. Like, it's not gonna be an easy path for
Yeah.
UP to make it to the finals." And then, 40 seconds left. Terrence
Yeah. And
Frontea,
it was three.
freaking 3 point with like I don't know. There were like 20 seconds still on their
Yeah.
shot clock timer, and he still went for it, and it went in. And the
It's a
UST
classic
community was
Terra.
like, "Oh," they were like, "Oh
Uh,
no."
you felt the air come out talaga on that side of the arena.
Yeah,
It
like
was
if there were people
crazy.
standing in front of us, they paused.
Yeah.
They were like,
It's like no way.
yeah, that and given that UP started off with like I think it was a 0-7 or 0-11 run in the
Mm-hmm.
beginning of that game by UST. So I
Yeah.
remember we went out to get a snack first. And then when we
Yeah.
came back, the score was like UST had not moved, but UP went up by like 20 to 22 or something like that because of Harold and Jerry, diba?
Yeah.
We were like, what is this game? And then there was like a scare puff from your side where Francis had to be taken out for a
Oh
little
yeah.
while because I think he fell,
Exactly.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So we are like, oh no, how that's gonna be really big if UP doesn't have Maruko with them because Collins
Yeah.
is just gonna be like, I have a free pass to the
Yeah, that was on my mind also. I remember going to him, watching. I was like, I was praying, like, he has to not, even if he doesn't get back on this game, hopefully by the finals.
yeah,
Because
because we also didn't know what was happening and they didn't really say
yeah,
what it
yeah,
was. Yeah,
yeah,
and then well, but you guys still that the last well, after the Terrence shot, the last 30 seconds were probably like the most impressive basketball I've seen from
they,
UP this season. For me, this was their best game this
yeah,
season. It was so you could see the maturity of like Sina Jerry and Harold. I mean, of course, it was risky for Harold to throw it up, but
yeah.
it also made sense because if he kept the ball on the ground, UST might have stolen
But
it pa. And I remember he threw it up without looking
yeah,
where it was going. So what happened was it flew to the backcourt.
one of
And
the
if
USC
Jerry,
things.
yeah, if Jerry had touched it, it would have been a backcourt violation, which would have been really
Yeah,
risky. But he was so smart. What he did was he
yeah,
just blocked Forsky from picking it up. He did not touch the ball. He just ran with his arms up. And I was like, this is such smart basketball.
yeah. That's where their maturity really showed.
Yeah, and their championship experience also to like
Yeah,
think of things like that off
yeah,
the fly. And oh my God, if I touch this, it's gonna go back to
yeah,
UST. So I just
mhm,
gotta make sure that UST can't touch it.
yeah,
So because of that, Forsky couldn't get the ball. UST loses by one, and their season comes to an end. UP is back in the finals, and I remember the whole UP crowd was so freaking happy. They even like showed so much respect to the UST graduating players, which I really loved. Like
yeah,
they really gave them a round of applause, and they did the ghost. I
yeah.
remember we were beside the UP crowd, and they were saying it, and I was like, "Wow, this is such good
Or
sportsmanship." Yeah.
yeah. That was a great game. I mean, both teams really showed a good fight. And also the crowd. I always look forward to USC games because of the ghost that cheer. Like sometimes I would also be cheering with them because it's such an iconic and catchy cheer. And it's so they're like all the fans are so lively also.
Yeah, we wanted to cheer now, so we felt like we were in UST na. When we watched that game, because we were with the UST people, and we were like,
Yeah.
yeah, this is what it feels like, to be to be in UST. Yeah.
Yeah, but my core memory of that game was Harold's last, like the throw. I remember also in the player of the game interview, he said sorry to the UP community for that scare.
Yeah, that was a cardiac move. It was
Yeah.
it was a really risky, but obviously it paid off. Like that was I
Yeah.
remember like the podcaster saying like because it worked, it was really good. If it
Mm-hmm.
didn't work, he would
It
have
was,
gotten so much shit for it.
yeah. And he knew that because he was also laughing it off at the end.
Yeah, I think we saw that on the screen when you were interviewing him. Parang he was like
Yeah.
smiling, and I was like, "Oh, that's good."
Yeah, we were all laughing.
Yeah, the not a recommended move, but low key high IQ also. Because
Mhm. Yeah.
USD didn't know what to do. They were like, "Do I catch this?"
Yeah, that's such a great term. High IQ from both players, especially
Yeah,
Jet.
yeah. Jerry ibang klase talaga. That's the captain right there.
Yeah.
That's the push also to get you guys where you needed to be. So the stage was set. LaSalle won against NU. They completed the upset. I'm sure this is not what UP wanted because if it was against NU, they had a good chance since they had beaten them both times in the regular season. But because it's LaSalle, the team that not only have they faced twice in the finals already, but have not beaten them this entire season, what is everybody feeling going into finals game one?
I feel like for the team, they didn't let those thoughts get into them. I mean, they know they've already faced LaSalle. Didn't really look back at the elimination round results because that has already happened in 87. We didn't win, but we won in the finals. So I guess in that 88, it was the same thing going in, really just locked in into those three final series or two. So yeah, so I guess they did their usual work. They did it times two. And yun nga, parang put in all the work and the mind into that game. But yeah, game one was just a shocker. Didn't go the way everyone expected. That Jacob Cortez was so good in game one. He was just like,
Yeah, he dropped like 20, 21 or something like that.
yeah, and then it was like, like mostly 3 pointers, right? Like, or was that the end? The crucial,
No, his 3 point game was the last one.
the last.
He only scored eight, but he made two threes and almost made a third, but he stepped on the line. That's why it was a two.
Yeah.
So all of
And
his points came from beyond the line.
Dunga also, I think in that game.
Yeah, Dungo was the one that won us
Yeah,
game one. That was he was the wild card player of LaSalle. Unexpected talaga.
I didn't
I think he scored
expect.
12.
Yeah. And then I remember that game also for us naman in UP. It was mainly Harold.
Yeah, he had his career high,
Yeah,
34.
34. That was
That one was like, and anytime the ball was in Harold's hand, we're like, just let it go in na. Because I don't think he missed at all for the
didn't.
entire game. Or like he
Whenever
only missed one or two.
yeah, he was like flow state. Like he was just in the game talaga.
That was such an impressive showing by him. But I think the reason that UP didn't win, aside from the Jacob Cortez like
Mm-hmm.
last minute three, was because the other players were all checked and struggling to like show up. I think Jerry had a hard time, I remember, and like Ramogat also couldn't find the shot in the first game. So it was
Yeah.
all Harold. So after a while, LaSalle figured out who to go to. That's why Pabs had those two monster blocks near the end where like Harold was literally this is the basket, he was here. And he
Yeah.
got like thrown. Pabs was like, nope. There's one where Harold fell back to the like behind the baseline and then he had to be like picked up and I was like, holy shit, like what is happening here?
It was such like I remember my emotions were all over the place in that game, where before reports I had to compose myself. Because every time, like moments you wouldn't look at the court, something was always happening. Like you could hear in the crowd.
Yeah. We went to the banyo at one point, the fourth quarter, and we could hear screams while we were in the hallway, and we were like, "What is happening? What's happening? We have to get back to our chairs." Like,
Yeah, it was a crazy game.
yeah, that was definitely why Harold is one of the best players in the UAAP,
Hmm.
and like one of the best players that UB has had. That was that was the proof right there. Like that one game was enough to like convince any doubter that like this is why you have to be
Yeah.
scared of Harold Alarcon, right? But this was also the first time that UP had lost a game one in this
Mm.
series against LaSalle. And like since 85, I think was
It's
the first
yeah.
time where because I think in 85 it was they lost game one, won game two, and then lost game three. In 84, you guys won game one also. So
Mm-hmm.
84, 86, 87, you
One.
swept game one straight. So it was a big deal that this time LaSalle came up with the game one win. So now UP is one game away from being eliminated and ousted out of their championship crown. So going into game two, what was everybody feeling?
I think there everyone felt the pressure and the nerves already. But of course, that wasn't new to them. So they really used that to just push them more. And because they knew what's at stake now, it was like going to game two, it was a do or die. Like from here, if they lose this, everything they've worked hard for, like it would all just end there in game two. So from there, I remember they focused on playing more aggressive and also especially staying disciplined on the defense because they knew if they can't make it work on offense, they have to stay disciplined on defense. And I remember Coach Gold saying that being in the finals itself was already a blessing. So he was saying from that we should not forget that being here, it's a big opportunity already, a big thing. But because we're here, they had to push more for their dreams and for their goals. And that here it's a time to play. What I always heard was to play with buong puso and at the same time as one team. Because right, basketball's a team sport, so it couldn't just be one. Like in game one, it was mainly Harold. So in game two, they all knew everyone had to step up, everyone had to contribute and play their roles. And also because I remember seeing it wasn't just the five players on the court with the energy, like really the bench, the players like Sana Chico, Sana Josh, LA, everyone was doing their best to motivate and cheer for the players. Like when every time one of the players would look back, they would do their best to hype up the player. Or when they're subbed out, everyone would just cheer for them and say, just keep going, puso, laban, and all those words. And that's where I guess really helped in game number two.
Yeah, it's crazy hearing you say that and then seeing how it translated exactly how you said it in game
Yeah,
two, because that's exactly what they did. Harold did not operate for like 80% of the
yeah,
game. It was all the other players. They finally checked Jacob by putting Jacob Baila on him, and it
yeah.
worked. He still got shots off, but it was so much more difficult. And I remember there were a few times where he couldn't score because Baila just blocked him all the way to the basket. I think who else? Romagat was finally finding his like footing. I think he scored a three right away in the
Hmm.
first few minutes of the first quarter. So that was when we were like, okay, so this game is gonna be like a different vibe already. And then Jerry is the one that won them that game. The last two or three shots all came from him, where once again, Scary Jerry could not miss. He did exactly what like if you took a picture of him in all his shots, it's all the same things that you would expect Jerry Abadiano to do.
Yeah.
He's just so good at it. Where like he can blaze by you, and you'll just be like, "Where the hell is Jerry?" And then the ball is already in the
Yeah,
basket because he
that's
already made his jump shots, right? So UP won that game by
I think four.
three or four.
Yeah, I think
Yeah, I
three.
think Naruka split his free throws ata, and that won them the game because Harold went one on one with Boris when Boris tried to make that the
Yeah.
shot that would have changed the entire narrative. If Boris' shot made that
If
that
it
might have
was
been
going
the
around,
end. Yeah,
the
it went like
right?
this and then went out.
Yeah, it took so long. It was like in a movie na parang you thought it was like,
It's a
like
hold your breath moment.
yeah, it was
Yeah, that was
crazy.
all of us. We were like, this is going in, and then it
Then what
didn't, and everyone was like, no. But then we knew what that meant. It meant more basketball. And I remember
yeah.
like staying a few minutes after the game to like kind of take in the everything that had happened and seeing like the UP community like applaud also LaSalle during the alma mater. I remember that. I remember staring at the screens of the team victory thing and being like, damn, we're really going to game 3 again. Like this is not what we wanted to happen, but it's kind of what the basketball gods willed to happen because the narrative wouldn't have made sense if it had ended
Yeah, it's
in
like
game 2. Like
this
not everyone got a chance to like shine. Although Felisilda got checked in for the only time that season and he made his 3-pointer. So I was really happy that he was able to do that before he
graduate.
graduated. But like yeah, so UP won, split the series. Going into the final game, now we don't know what's gonna happen anymore. What is everybody feeling?
I think from here in game 3, I mean from coming from game 2, they all knew that the fight wasn't done and the work wasn't done. So in game 3, Coach Cole, I remember, told them that in the finals, every point and every possession mattered, especially in game number 3. And that they had to fight and give it their all now because that was the last game, the last season, and that everything they worked hard for was all boils down to that one game. And I remember Coach Gold would say, like, if they had a dream, they had to fight for it. So that's what they did in game number 2, and that's what they had to do for game number 3. Because everything they went through, they knew from game 1, all that boils down to that game. As what I said, remember at the start, I said I knew that was just a page to the story. So here it was like that last game was the final page of the story they were writing throughout the season. So from there, I knew everyone was really just playing for their younger selves, playing for their dreams. And there talaga you could see it how every player wanted it, how every player played with the heart of wanting to win. But then, didn't go that way, but still, you could tell that they wanted to win.
Yeah, heart of the champion talaga. That's a really good mindset to have. I mean, I'm sure you guys wanted to win, diba? And, for us, you were like, oh, nice, we won and all that. But we were so happy now we got that series, to
Mhm.
begin with, because it was something that we personally wanted, like the rematch and all that. And, for you guys nga, to go back to that mountaintop and try to defend the title nga, it was a good mindset that what you said na, okay, we're here, but just enjoy the moment. Like, don't stress out too much on, oh, we have to win, like we have to win and all that. Just
Yeah.
play because you love
You
the
wanna
game.
play? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you want to play, diba? And usually if you have that mindset, it translates well, eh, diba? You tend to be more relaxed and whatnot. You don't really get the pressure, let the pressure get to you too much. So yeah,
Mhm.
I know I was silent for a bit because my battery is about to die, so I had to like charge. It wasn't charging for some reason. It was like not charged na, pero it was still going down. So I was like, oh my God, I'm gonna get kicked out of the Zoom. So I was panicking. But yeah, I'm sure what you guys said nung game 2 that I missed. Yeah, UP just really went in there and just played it, diba? And it translated well. They won. And then game 3, same thing. Just play and just, have fun regardless of what happens. I'm sure UP really proved to everybody na, yeah, they're really that team talaga. Just one of the top teams um to really root for during the season.
And I think here coming into game 3, they knew that there were just 40 minutes to turn all their sacrifice into a great moment, or 40 minutes to just really show what it meant to be a fighting maroon. And, I think even given what happened, I know, they still put up a good fight.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, and you can see like they were really enjoying every minute of that last game.
Yeah.
Like if you look at their faces whenever someone would like score or they'd get a good like steal or something, even like they'd pan to the bench and they'd
Yeah.
be like everyone would be like jumping and screaming. Like that's the kind of morale that you want to see in, well, like in general any game of sports, but like mas lalo pa it's the finals, diba?
Yeah.
So to still be able to balance out that feeling of being hyped and feeling of staying composed because you know that like you're playing to win, but
Yeah.
you also at the end of the day remember that you're just playing to play. Like this was the send off for some of the most iconic players that UP has ever had. So
That's
like I'm sure it was a really big deal for the UP community that their last game be something that all of them can remember and look back on. And that game really went down well until like the last minute and a half. UP
yes.
looked like they were the ones who were gonna take it because everyone was showing up. Like
Yeah.
even if they had figured out that they were gonna try and put Jacob Baila on Cortez, so he didn't really use the ball that much. They still found other ways to like work around and find good shots on there. And like Ray Ramoga came to play, man.
Good. I
I
remember
remember.
early on before was it before the last 2 minutes he did like a 3-pointer way
Yeah, and
beyond.
then he got fouled. Yeah,
Yeah.
Boris fouled him. That was the moment where we were like, "Oh no, this is exactly what happened last year when UP just like switched it
Yeah.
up, and then this might be where they pull away." And I think even the commentators, like
Yeah.
Boom, they were like, "This might be the spark that UP
They,
needs to change it," because it really just takes one
yeah.
play to change everything. Doesn't matter how far down you are. Like in basketball, we know how much like seconds can count
Yes.
for like changing the whole flow or momentum. And to see a player like that make a shot like that, that kind of feeling gives the crowd that sense of hope that like it's not done until it's done. Because
That's true.
sometimes when like teams are getting blown out, like you can see like people leave now or like
Yeah.
and it gets quiet on the side of the ones who are probably gonna end up losing. But in this game, till the end, the UP crowd was standing up. They were like cheering, even in the last when there's a timeout before the last like 14 seconds after Kian's two free
Yeah.
throws that kind of sealed it. You could hear the UP crowd like cheering them as they took the ball down really slowly. And then Fortea tried to make that last
This
three
thing.
before LaSalle sealed the game and then got the ball. Like everyone like did a really good job in that game. And even if they weren't on the court, you could see that the players still felt their presence from the bench.
Yeah, that's one thing. I think what I loved seeing from the start to the end was how they all grew as a team because it wasn't just the five players on the court really working. Like as you mentioned, you saw the energy of the bench, and that took a while. But as each game went by, you could see them really gelling as one team. Them finding their confidence, them slowly finding their roles in each team. Because at the start, like, they were all confused. They weren't as like confident, and seeing them in that finals game, no matter the outcome, it was like everything fell into place. Everyone knew already, you know, what their role was, what they were fighting for, and it was really nice to see that.
Yeah, it will definitely fuel the comeback
Mm-hmm.
for trying to get the next title again. Honestly, like I don't know if you guys agree with me with this, but it's easier to chase a championship than to defend it. 'Cause it's really hard to defend a
Yeah, that's
champion.
why even in the NBA they're like you're the hunters, you're not the hunted.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah, it's no joke to defend a title talaga. So ayun, but for sure, again, like nowhere to go but up for UP, diba?
Yeah.
So for sure, you guys will bounce back in season 89. All right. Okay. So after that, retrospective of UP season, yeah, you know,
Mm-hmm.
um, we want to shift the focus back to you again as a courtside courtside reporter. So we want to ask you this final question. It's kind of like a reflective question in a way, parang pang retreat and all that. So throughout this entire experience, especially as someone who's been the courtside reporter twice now, season 87 and then currently season 88, what were you able to take away from it all? And, how and when did you notice your growth as both a courtside reporter and as a person?
Okay. I guess all throughout my journey, there's two different chapters, of course, 87 and 86. Because in 87, for me personally, I had this like imposter syndrome because I didn't have background about writing, broadcasting, or anything compared to everyone else. So it was really me finding my voice, finding the confidence. And I guess in basketball of towards round two, I found that voice and confidence already, but still looking to sustain it. And then comes 88. I found that confidence and voice, but looking to step out of my comfort zone because there comes a time as a courtside reporter where you have this like template of your report, intro, body, conclusion. So in 88, it was me really trying to grow more in a way that I'm going outside of the box, really bringing in more of like things around me to make my reports a lot more interesting and fun. And so I guess my whole courtside journey was really growth in a way also personally that I'm doing things I never thought I would meeting people who I never knew would like change my life so much and would have a great impact. I mean, my correspondent sisters, I learned a lot from them. Some of them being my closest friends now, like Vixie, and then my mentors, everyone in the prod room, like they've had such a big impact in my life because now because of courtside and because of all of this, I have more opportunities now as, in this industry and in this field. And I guess personally also it's more on um I shocked myself na parang I'm doing something I never thought I would and I'm doing it scared. But at the same time that's good because it means I'm going out of my comfort zone. I'm doing something because I have that feeling I know that I'm growing. So yeah, so courtside has really been an unexpected journey and a journey wherein I learned a lot about myself and I still am continuously learning. So yeah.
Yeah, great. Oh, and we just want to congratulate you, Matt, for what you've done so far as the CSR. Nga. We're really proud of you and your correspondent sisters for what you guys have been able to accomplish. We've seen so many of you guys just flourish in this role and then eventually do greater things after. So yeah, congrats. And
You.
we're glad that you took the time to be here with us to share your stories.
Yes. Thank
Yeah,
you for
the UP community is very lucky to have you as their CSR and as their resident storyteller for the last two seasons of sports.
Yeah.
yeah.
Like you really did a great job.
Oh,
It
thank
made watching the UP games like more like we understood it more coming from a perspective of like being biased fans. Like now, because of you guys, we appreciate good basketball for what it is and not just like this is my team. I want all the other teams to lose. Like that's it. Now it's like we appreciate like each player's journey and like everything that they go through because at the end of the day, like we're all just people, right? So
yeah.
being able to express their stories in a way that makes it so relatable for everyone who's watching,
Yes.
like
And
that's the accomplishment right there.
yeah, because I mean, at the end of the day, one thing I guess many people forget is that the athletes on the court, they're also just kids trying to learn life. It's just that they have that spotlight and all that pressure on them because they're all just in college, but they're athletes in their own respective universities with such big responsibilities. So I guess us as courtsides really wanted to bring their human side out there.
And you did. That's exactly what you did. It made watching sports that much easier to understand. And I feel like because of you guys, so many future generations of students and student athletes will be inspired to want to be on both sides of being like on the media side and on the athletic side. So we thank you and all the other courtside reporters we've had so far on the show for being that bridge to kind of connect the gap between the audience and what they're experiencing watching on TV.
Yes, thank you.
All right. Thanks so much for being here with us, Cheska. This is such a great episode. And I don't know, I low key appreciate UB basketball even more now because, like, now I really see the depth that went into not only this season, but like all the other seasons where you can see the effort that all of these athletes are like putting into the sport. And now I just have a whole new perspective for future seasons when I'm watching games and stuff that like at the end of the day, this is just it should just be good sports. That's all. It's meant to be enjoyed, right? It's not meant
Hmm.
to be something to be bitter about or like sad
Yeah.
or happy. I mean, those moments are great, but like we're all just one big like community at the end of the day.
Yeah.
So that's what's really important. All right, so this has been another UAP Talk, Screw Up Sessions slash No New Friends collab episode. Thanks so much again for being here, Cheska,
Thank you.
and we will see you guys on the next episode.